340 days, 2 surgeries, Dak Prescott returns. And I've always had this, what do I do with Dak? How good is Dak? What is Dak? I like the intangibles more than I do the talent. And I'll give you an example. So what I do for big games is I get a yellow sheet of paper, and I just go 1 through 10 or 1 through 12. I'll do 1 through 12, and I list the best players in the game. And that gives me a sense of who's the better team. So Tampa is favored tonight by, over a touchdown. And they're at home, and they return everybody. So this shows you the struggle I have. I'll give you the 12 best players, and these are elite players at their position. So Brady's the best quarterback ever. Mike Evans, probably number 2, the toughest receiver in the league to defend in the red zone. Levante David, 3, Shaq Barrett, 4, elite linebackers. Tristan Wirfs now viewed as the first or second best right tackle. I would put DeMarcus Lawrence was the highest graded Cowboy last year at 6. Didn't get a lot of sacks, but he's very good. I'm going to give Zeke the benefit of the doubt. He's had 3 straight declining years, but they say he's in the best shape of his career, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Early in the season, before all those carries, he's still, I think, a really good back, number 7. Vita Vea, Ali Marpet, interior lineman D&O for the Bucs. Then I end it with 3 receivers. Amari Cooper, 10, is slightly better than Chris Godwin of the Bucs, 11, who's slightly more established and better this morning than CeeDee Lamb, who I think is going to have a big, big year. 8 of the 12 are Bucs. And then you say, well, where's Dak? And that's always my issue with Dak. Is he elite? I have 2 issues with Dak, and I'd like everybody to prove me wrong. Number 1 is he no longer beats good teams. Since the start of 2019, he has 1 win over a playoff team. And it was barely a playoff team, Philadelphia 9-7. He played them later that year and was awful. In fact, I went this morning and I looked at his last 12 wins. 3 over rebuilding New York, 2 over rebuilding Washington, 2 over Philadelphia, 1 Tampa pre-Brady, Atlanta, Detroit, 5-11 Miami, and a Ram team that didn't make the playoffs. There's not a lot there. He doesn't beat good teams enough. Doesn't mean I don't like him. But Cowboy fans, you can't have it both ways. You can't argue you have all these great players and Dak's great and you're not winning games. You can't feast on rebuilding teams. And the second thing is, the Cowboys won more when they were less dependent. They won more when Dak did less, right? Like when Zeke, first 3 years, was in his prime, they won more. First year when Zeke broke into the league, 13-3. I mean, Dak wasn't throwing for 300 and 400 yards regularly. So when Dak did less, the Cowboys won more. The more they ask him to do, the less the Cowboys win. So Dallas's recent erosion is more about the decline of Zeke. In fact, let me ask you this. Prove me wrong. When's the last big, important Cowboy win that Dak led them? You can't think about it. Pittsburgh, his rookie year. That was impressive. First thing I thought of, a Seattle playoff game. I went and looked it up. And it was actually Zeke who led them. Dak's passer rating that day, it was okay. It was like 83. It was fine. It was Dak. And I never quite know what to do with Dak. I don't think he's elite at his position. I do think he's productive. I tend to like the intangibles more than the tangibles. But all the other quarterbacks in this league that I love, your Lamars and your Russells and your Mahomes and your Josh Allens and your Aarons and your Bradys, I like the tangibles. Intangibles are good too, but I really like the tangibles. With Dak, I don't. I like the intangibles. And so as we watch this game tonight, there's a reason I have my doubts about Dallas this year. Because I do think Zeke is declining. It may stop this year, but they become more dependent on Dak. And over the last 2 to 3 years, the more dependent on Dak, the fewer wins. Now, if there were only 16 games in the NFL, which there were, except this year in my life, it's 14 when I was a kid, 16 now, I'd call the Steelers an 8-8 team. I think the division's better, the AFC's better. I think they're an 8-8 football team. But since I have to pick a side, I picked 8-9, probably a little risky because Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season. But it is interesting to note that when you take legendary quarterbacks and go to their last year with the team we identify them with, like Drew Brees, we identify him as a saint, although it wasn't his first team. If you go to their last year, and I think this could be Ben's last year, it generally doesn't end well. Jim Kelly, last year in Buffalo, 14 TDs, 19 picks. Tom Brady, New England. We identify him as a Patriot, right? His last year, he had a passer rating of 88 for the GOAT. Drew Brees last year got hurt, no playoff win. Phillip Rivers last year, 23 TDs, 20 picks, 5-11. Cam Newton's last year in Carolina hurt. Peyton's last year in Indy hurt. Eli's last year in the Giants benched. It usually doesn't end well, and the end is near. And this is what I always tell my kids. Waste time in college. Because when you get out of college, you never know if the best job of your life is going to be offered. Be buttoned up and ready to go. College is different. You got 4 years in college. You take, let's say, 16 credits a semester. You got 4 or 5 classes. Monday, you got 2 classes. Tuesday, you got 3. Wednesday, 1. Thursday, 3. You can schedule my daughter did her entire career. Friday, off. You got 3-day weekends in college. Then she gets a month off in December. She gets 2 months off in the summer. Travel. Have fun. You don't need a 4-point in college. Your high school grades are bigger than your college grades, actually. I've never had anybody ask for my grades in my entire career. It's the high school grades that get you into the college. And so I always said, waste some time in college. Go to some parties. Summer, travel. Backpack to Amsterdam. Whatever you can afford. But when you get out of college, be ready to go. Amazon. One of your college roommates ends up being really smart and having a business. Be ready to go. Don't waste time. And I feel like the Steelers have wasted so many years. I'll give you an example. There were and I know Ben's now in the best shape of his life, but there were opportunities in the AFC. There was the Peyton Mannings getting old in Indianapolis years. Yeah, Tom Brady won Super Bowls during those years. There was the Colts have Andrew Luck, but they're really poorly run years. Yeah, Tom Brady beat Luck and won Super Bowl those years. Cleveland, Cincinnati are layups if you play them. They're terrible. Yeah, Tom Brady was winning in New England when they were winning Super Bowls in those years. There's the Andy Reids in the AFC, but he doesn't have a star quarterback yet. Tom Brady has been in Super Bowl in those years. There were so many years in the AFC. The Peyton's getting old. Okay, Luck's there. He's great, but the organization's bad. Andy's now in our conference, but he doesn't have a star quarterback. Cleveland, Cincinnati in your division are awful. Totally chaotic. Those are all over now. Like Cleveland's got a coach and a better roster. And Andy does have a star quarterback. And now you start looking around and the Chargers have a quarterback and Buffalo's got a quarterback and Carson Wentz is now in the conference. All those years just wasted by Pittsburgh. Forget it now. 3 teams in your division have better rosters. Arguably. 2 for sure. Now, I'll give you over Cincinnati, my bad. 2 teams in your division have better rosters. Baltimore and Cleveland. The years of you winning that division and winning championships, they're over. And you wasted a lot. And I've said this a little bit about Green Bay. Although Green Bay is getting to conference championship, so I don't feel as strongly about it. But Green Bay wasted some really good years. There was the Russell Wilson's playing behind the worst O-line in the NFC years. They didn't get any Super Bowls there. There was the McVay and Shanahan don't quite have their star quarterback years. There was the Drew Brees is getting old, Eli's getting benched, and the Tom Brady's not in your conference years. They weren't winning Super Bowls in those years. So I feel with Pittsburgh and Green Bay, you have these openings, legends aging, good teams poorly run. Andy Reid doesn't have a star quarterback. And I feel like Pittsburgh just kind of frittered away all those years. I mean, just think about this. There was about a 10-year, 12-year time for Ben, 4-0 against the Browns-Bengals. You could just write it down in your pocket schedule. You wouldn't even get an argument from people in Cleveland or Cincinnati. Those days are over. Cleveland's better. Baltimore's better. And Cincinnati's got an offense. They can beat you in a shootout. Their roster's not better yet, but they can beat you in a shootout. You better be ready when you go to Cincinnati.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.